Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Bryndís. And yes, I know, but we have another book haul. This book haul is 28 books, all thrifted, and it's a result of 2 trips to the charity shop that I go to way too often. I can't stop. I cannot stop. But, I mean, they're very cheap, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, okay, so let me just, so there are like 3 categories. I have classics, I have like a mixture of fantasy, modern stuff, and then I have Agatha Christie, because of course I have Agatha Christie. So basically what I've decided is that I am just buying all the Agatha Christie books I can see. I want to have, or that is at the moment at least, I really want to have a collection of all of her books. And I like to have different editions of the same book. And I've gone a little bit mad in regards to Agatha Christie. So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 books by Agatha Christie. Some of them I already own, but I wanted to have this edition as well. I have to like organize my Agatha Christie collection. I have to go through it and really see how I want to display it and how I want to what I want to do with all the books that I own. How many books of the same, like how many copies of the same book I own, or how many editions of the same book I own, and if that's where I want to go, or if it's enough to have one copy of each book, one edition. I don't know. At the moment, I feel like I just want to own all of them, but I don't know. We'll see. I haven't made. The reason I've been filming from this point of view is because my bookshelves that are on that wall are atrocious, because there's no room anymore on them. I have made plans to make on a wall facing me to create bookshelves there, and so I am in the midst of the creative process of figuring out what to do with all of these books that I own. And but that's taken a long time because I'm very busy and I can only like use a couple of minutes a day really thinking about it and doing some plans. So eventually I will show you what it will look like, but there are some changes coming to my bookshelves and stuff like that. But anyway, Agatha Christie. So I have I have 5 Poirot books. So there is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Look at that. I mean, how could I not buy that cover? Like, Cat Among the Pigeons. Curtain. I'm not necessarily sure I want to keep this edition, but I don't think I have it. Or maybe I do. Never mind. Curtain. Poirot Investigates. And then I think it is Evil. Is it Evil in the Sun, or something evil, but in Danish? When I saw that I could buy this book there at the charity shop in Danish, I was just like, of course I have to get it. Like, so here we have her. And I was just like, I'm gonna wanna read this in Danish at some point. I can read Danish. I cannot speak Danish, but I can read it. And then I have some Miss Marple books, and I have The Mirror Cracked. I wonder if this is the US version, or anyway, The Mirror Cracked. And it's like has Angela Lansbury in the back. Can you see it? Elizabeth Taylor. Oh my goodness. And then I actually have 2 copies of Nemesis. Yeah, I know, I'm insane. And I'm like, what is this? What is that? It's like, I know it's a flower, but it looks like something else. Never mind. And then I have these that are, some of them are like minor series, some of them are standalone. So I have Crooked House, which I actually really enjoyed. I remember reading that one. I have The Pale Horse. Look at that. I have They Came to Baghdad. I have Passenger to Frankfurt, which I don't think it was one of my favorite. I have The Mysterious Mr. Quinn, which I think Mr. Quinn is in a few books. And then I saw this, and then there were none. This one is just, I really like this one. I do own that in a different edition. But I think that this one is really like with the house and the island. Yeah. So those are the Agatha Christie books that I've added to my collection. And at some point I will do like a organization of that and figure out how I want to display it, like I said, and maybe I will show you what I come up with at some point. So the next category is kind of historical fiction and sci-fi and fantasy. So I have 5 books. First of all, I have Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. I think I'm not sure if I've seen the movie, but maybe I have. I'm not sure, but I would love to read this book. I think that it's obviously a very famous, excellent book, so I think that could be a good read at some point. And then I have this book, The Alienist, by Caleb Carr. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the book that the TV show is based on, the Netflix show, The Alienist. I really enjoyed that show, and I think that's been cancelled, and it's so sad. But basically, The Alienist, it's about this not a psychoanalyst. I think this takes place before psychoanalysis or something, but it's in the end of the late 19th century. I think this takes place in New York, and this man is the alienist. He is kind of helping the police catch serial killers or something like that. And so it's kind of the precursor to profilers. And yeah, I'm very excited to read this book at some point. Like everything else, at some point, I have no idea when. And then I've been hearing a lot about Ursula Le Guin, Ursula Le Guin, who was like I think she's passed away. Who was like a huge sci-fi author, and I would love to read something by her. I'm not necessarily a huge sci-fi fan, but I can enjoy a good sci-fi for sure. I have no idea what this is. The Tombs of Atuan. So this is volume 2 of the Magical Earthsea book. So I need to obviously find volume 1. So Earthsea, the Earthsea series. I've heard that. I definitely heard that on BookTube. So, and this is very lovely and short. So I have Ursula Le Guin. I'm sorry, that's how I don't know how you pronounce that name, but I definitely want to read some of her. And then I found Malice by John Gwynne. So this is the first book in a series called, I don't know, book 1 of The Faithful and the Fallen. So there is Malice, Valor, Ruin, and Wrath. I've seen a lot of people reading this book. There's definitely been some mixed reviews, but hell of a debut, highly recommended. Like I said, I have no idea. The Banished Lands, Giants, Young Corbin. I don't know. I just saw this the title, the cover, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I will buy it. And then I saw yet another Tolkien book. I already have, actually I have the edition that I have had, and then I saw this one, and I'm also thinking it would be fun to have like all sorts of different editions of the Lord of the Rings books. So it's like pretty battered and ugly, but I don't mind that. I kind of like that. I like the fact that someone was reading it so hard that it's like has like scars on it because it was enjoyed so much. And then the last category are classics, and I have quite a few classics because that's my jam, obviously. I found Lady Chatterley's Lovers by D.H. Lawrence. I actually already own this book in a different edition, but this one is so much nicer, so I'm gonna probably end up donating the other edition. I just love these Penguin popular classics covers and books. I have gotten my hands on quite a few of them lately, and the copy that I have is nothing special. So I decided to go ahead and get this book. It's a very famous book. I don't really know that much about it, to be honest, but I want to read it at some point. I think it was quite scandalous at the time it was published. I also found Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. I've been hearing her name talked about quite a lot lately. There was a book by her, I don't think it was this book. No, there was another book by her that was the group read in Victober this last October. That I would also love to read at some point, but yeah, I'm very excited about. I'm not necessarily 100% excited about this edition, but it's not bad, and it's in pretty good. Like it's not in too bad. The condition of it is okay as well. So Mary Elizabeth Braddon, and then I found the Penguin book of English short stories. A couple of months ago, I did find the Penguin book of American short stories, so that's cool. Now I have the English ones as well, and like I really also like this edition of the Penguin books. And there are some really good authors in here with the short stories. There is Charles Dickens, there is Thomas Hardy, Joseph Conrad, Rudyard Kipling, H.G. Wells, James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, D.H. Lawrence, Aldous Huxley, and yeah, so there are like Graham Greene and a few others that I don't recognize. So there are a lot of really good authors in here that's going to be really fun to read, I'm sure. And then another, I found the Norton Anthology of English Literature. This is gonna be fantastic. I actually used to own, this is just volume 1, by the way. I actually used to own this this anthology, and I think I had volume 1 and 2 for when I was in did my degree in English language and literature. But this is basically from what is it? Anglo-Saxon literature. So there is Bede, Beowulf, King Alfred, like way back there, until like Anglo-Roman literature, Middle English literature in the 14th and 15th century, the 16th century, the Mary Queen of Scots, Elizabeth I. I mean, what? Mary Tudor? What? Sir Walter Raleigh, and like all of these things. And then we also have like Shakespeare in here. I do own Shakespeare as well, so I don't need that. But the Restoration, Jonathan Swift, and then I think we end up with John Milton is here. Thomas Gray. So this ends up, what is it, period? Sorry, I'm finding it. So the Restoration and the 18th century. So it runs from basically Anglo-Saxon England or Britain until 1785. So that's gonna be really fun because I would love to like maybe read a poem by someone like so it's good to have all of that in this book for a project of some sort at some point. I definitely want to get my hands on volume 2 at some point as well, but I'm very excited to have this. Then the rest of the classics are mostly Russian, but I also found Don Quixote. What is it? Don Quixote, I think is in the English, and by Miguel de Cervantes. Look at that. I have no idea when I'm actually gonna read it, but this is in the Icelandic translation, and this is like brand new. You wouldn't believe that I found it as a thrift store, but I honestly did. And so I would love to read Don Quixote at some point. It's definitely a project. It's like, it's so big. Still, but like it's just about 1,000 pages. But it just feels really big. But yeah, at some point I'm gonna want to read this. I don't have it in English. Obviously it's translated from, is it Spanish or Portuguese? Yeah, I think it's Spanish, right? Yeah. So that will be fun at some point. And then I also found the Icelandic translation of, so this is Leo Tolstoy. It's interesting that they are calling him Lev Tolstoy, which is actually his name. Like, why is it Leo in English? Anyway, this is Childhood in the Icelandic translation, which is one of his book. And I really like it. It's quite like a big and not too many words on each page. So it looks bigger than it is, I believe. But this was his third novel. And it's based on his childhood and his kind of growing up. So that's fun. I really enjoyed Tolstoy after reading War and Peace, and I'm really excited that I actually got my hands on the Icelandic translation of War and Peace. I have read it. I did read it in August. I can't believe that I actually read it, but I did in English. And I have it own it in the English translation as well, but I think it's really cool to have it in the Icelandic one as well. So obviously it's originally in Russian. And interestingly enough, I also found The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and I actually own that one in the Icelandic translation. So now I have it in English. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so The Idiot. I thought that was also very nice. And the last book that I have is Ivan Turgenev, On the Eve. So this is Ivan Turgenev. I've heard his name mentioned as well in some of the on BookTube here. So this is a love story with a tragic ending, portraying the everyday life and scenery of a Russian country estate. Yeah. So I think it would be fun to read Turgenev. I haven't read anything by him, I think. I haven't. So that will be fun at some point, like I said before. So those are the 28 books that I bought in the month of October. In the month of November, actually. And I'm very excited about them. And I am trying to be a little bit more selective of the books that I buy, and not just because it's a classic or just because it's fantasy. I'm not sure if that's working actually, but I do, like I said, have plans to kind of rearrange my book collection, my bookshelves. I'm adding in shelves, and I'm still figuring out how I'm gonna actually do that. But I'm just loving all of these books, and part of me is thinking, okay, now you need to stop buying books. Now this is becoming greed. You're being greedy. But then a part of me is like, but I want it so much. So I'm probably going to be doing book hauls every month for the rest of my life, basically. But never mind. I do think I am considering joining like Read What You Own challenge. But I do feel that I did that in October. I read a lot of the books that I own. So I think that I'm already doing it. But I think I'm also acquiring more books than I'm being able to. Like, I'm not keeping up with reading. I can't read 28 books in a month, basically. So if I would be buying maybe 10 books a month, that would be manageable because I can read approximately 10 books a month. But anyway, excuses. I don't need to make excuses. I love to buy books. It's my money. I can do what I want, right? Anyway, thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any thoughts about the books that I just showed you. And see you in my next one. Bye.